Hello, my name is Nick Martin, and in my day job, I'm the Director of Electrification for the Transition Accelerator. I spend a lot of my time thinking about the role of electricity in building a prosperous and economically competitive future for Canada by achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. In other words, I think about how we can produce electricity without creating emissions, and I also think how we can use a lot more of it to decarbonize our other energy needs. I also volunteer with a new organization based here in Toronto called Toronto Home Retrofits that is dedicated to helping decarbonize the city's homes. And so tonight I just want to talk about something that really connects these two parts of my life together. I want to talk about how electrification is the most viable way for eliminating emissions from our homes. And I want to draw attention to that word eliminate in what I just said, because I think it's important to make clear that we must eliminate, not just reduce emissions from our homes. The best science and the best information that we have today says we must achieve net zero emissions by 2050 to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. There's not a lot of wiggle room when it comes to net zero. Zero is zero. Zero is none. Zero is not less. So to get to net zero, we can't just produce less emissions from our homes. We must produce zero emissions from our homes. So if we're in the mindset of not just reducing but eliminating emissions from our homes, what is the best, most viable way to do it? Well, it might surprise everyone in here for me to say that the answer is electricity. And if you're listening, yeah, there's audible gasps in the room. But it's true. Full electrification is the most viable way to eliminate emissions from our homes. And I say that because electrifying our homes is a pathway to net zero that meets what we like to call at the Transition Accelerator the 3 C's. It's capable, it's credible, and it's compelling. I'll start with capable. Electrifying our homes is a capable net zero pathway because it will actually lead to emissions elimination. It might seem obvious, but when we turn on and use our electrical devices, they're not spewing out a bunch of exhaust or air pollutants or greenhouse gases. Using electricity for all of our home's energy needs completely eliminates on-site emissions. And then as the electricity grid itself moves towards net zero, even the electricity that will be used in our homes will not be contributing to emissions. In this way, electrification is capable of meeting our net zero goals. Next is credible. Electrifying our homes is a credible net zero pathway because it's not some new, high-tech, futuristic concept. The technology to electrify our homes exists today, and we've been using it for a long time. Our home's biggest energy need is typically keeping the place warm, and today in Canada, over 6 million homes already use electricity for heating. Electric water heaters and stoves are also common appliances across the country. This stuff is not new. But I will admit that electrifying our homes has not always been compelling. I don't know about everyone else here, but when I've been apartment hunting, a big negative has always been seeing a bunch of electric baseboard heaters along the walls when I walk into it. When I see those things, I would immediately start thinking, oh, if I get this place, it's going to be cold. It's going to be really expensive, my utility bills. I'm also not a huge fan of those electric coil stoves. You guys know what I'm talking about? I've scrubbed way too many pots and pans with sticky burn-on food because those things just stay super hot after you turn them off, unlike a gas stove, for example. Luckily, electrifying our homes has become a lot more compelling as technology has advanced substantially and we better understand the benefits of electrification. Today, we have really, really, really good heat pumps. And if you haven't heard of heat pumps, they're not new, but they're just air conditioners running in reverse. We've had air conditioners for quite a while. They move heat from outside our homes to the inside. And because they're moving heat instead of creating it, they are incredibly efficient, making them cheaper to run than most other heating options. In the past, this technology has struggled to move enough heat in cold Canadian winters, but heat pump technology has accelerated in the last few years with new models becoming more capable and more efficient at even the low temperatures, making them good options for most of Canada's colder weather today. And since heat pumps are just air conditioners, they also provide space cooling for our homes, something that's becoming more and more important as the summers become longer and hotter with climate change. Finally, on the cooking front, induction electric stoves have also improved tremendously, providing a cooking experience that's a lot like a gas stove without degrading the indoor air quality of our homes. Now, just because electrifying our homes is capable, credible, and compelling does not mean it's going to be super easy and without obstacles. There are important challenges that will require creative solutions, including ensuring our electric grids can handle all this additional electrification and ensuring an equitable transition by making sure these technologies are more affordable and accessible to all households. These are critical issues being worked on by many smart and dedicated people and organizations. There are also issues that will materialize once electrification is happening at scale. They do not prevent us from taking action today. So I want to end by saying that if this is something you care about, you can take action today. You can, of course, fully electrify your home if you're in a position to do so. As I said, the technology exists. But many of us might not be in a position to fully electrify our homes immediately. It generally makes most economic sense to electrify when existing fossil fuel-based equipment needs to be replaced, which is not all that often. It's also much harder for those of us who rent and don't have full control over the type of energy our homes use. But whether or not you can electrify your home today, you can certainly do two other things. You can learn and you can talk. First, learn more about how we can electrify our homes. Understand the options, understand the benefits. Nerd out on all these new and improved technologies. And then after learning, talk about it. And I think I can hear my girlfriend in the audience groan because I might talk about this stuff a little bit too much at our social gatherings. But it is a major barrier to eliminating emissions from our homes today is that many people are simply unaware of the options to decarbonize their homes. And these options and that these options can make their homes healthier and more comfortable. Helping folks become more aware is critical as home energy decisions often have a huge status quo bias. If our gas furnace breaks, we typically just replace it with another gas furnace. And once that decision is made, that furnace may be locked into place for the next 20 to 30 years. So talk about it with friends, family, neighbors, landlords. Make them aware that there are other, better options so when it comes time to make these energy decisions, they are equipped to make the choice to electrify. That's the model that organizations like Toronto Home Retrofits are pursuing, helping neighbors talk to neighbors how to electrify their homes. So if you want to take action, talk to groups like them, talk to me, of course, anything like that. Learn, talk, electrify. Thank you.